Really liked our start. Obviously, that first period was, that's how we're going to have to play and continue that on. And then the second period was kind of like the first period in game one for us. We just kept going parade to the penalty box. And, that affects you for the rest of the game. I've said that before. You got to rely on so many, high-end guys and your top players. So then we just didn't have the energy to make a real good push in the third period. And so we head home here, which, we're obviously a very confident team in our building.
Coach, with the quick turnaround, like you mentioned, how do you get that energy coming off the bus and with that quick turnaround in the third half of the game?
Well, in junior hockey, and especially our schedule, where we are, it's typical for us in the season. So it's nothing that our guys aren't going to be used to. In fact, we've done it so many times. Usually you're playing on a Saturday night, let's say in Barrie, and then 2:00 game in North Bay. So the fact that it's going to be 7 p.m. tomorrow, I have no worries about that. We have our routine, we have our rhythm, and we'll just get energized and play on our home ice.
Coach, everybody wants to talk about you being without Don DiVincenzo, but Mike McIver's been up for the challenge of the series, and that third period he stopped 19 to 20 shots when you guys were hemmed in your zone there, made 35 of 37. Can you just talk about what he's brought to your team? You traded away Charlie Robertson at the deadline, another capable goalie, but you believe in Mike McIver, and he's really showing it so far in this series.
Yeah, we certainly do. You come into situations and you need to have that. You need to have a guy that can step in there, and Mikey's done that all year. In fact, some of his best games this year have been against the top teams in the league, and I think losing Dom too throughout the World Juniors and all that. So we knew what we had in Mike, and he's really stepped up, and I think he's just a guy that relishes the moment, the pressure. Seems like he plays better and better in those scenarios, and he's been fantastic since the day I had to put him in there when Don left us. So I'm going to need to continue it, and I know he's got the confidence to do it.
And lastly for you, what did you see in that third period? There were shots at one point were 16-1, and there was a long stretch of the period that went without a whistle. So what did you see there as Oshawa kept hemming in your zone there, and you guys weren't really able to get that rhythm? From your vantage point, what went wrong there?
I'm not even really going to put much thought or stock into the third period. You look at what we have to deal with in the second. That's what happens. It's you can't go to the box 4 times in a period and then think that you're going to have legs or energy to make a push. So I think you kind of bottle up what we did in that first period. That's the type of game that we're going to have to play. I think that was for sure our best period of the entire series. And see if we can do that for 3 periods there tomorrow night.
Coach, I was going to ask, you'll have last change in North Bay, and you'll have the crowd behind you, and you'll have those advantages. What adjustments do you feel like you'll need to make going back to North Bay to match like that third period that Oshawa brought to you? And I know you just said you don't really put stock in it, but
well, it's so different just playing at home. It's not that it's just going to magically happen for us on home ice, but certainly, like you talked, a little bit more confidence in our line changes, a little bit more confidence in the way we're just going to manage things and do that. You can do that. It's the visiting team. This is a great atmosphere here. The crowd's unreal. So when they get one, it can tilt, right? We're going to try to do that to them in our home ice. So there's all those little different advantages. And then we're going to have to find a way to obviously build some offense. We're not scoring as much as we have here in the playoffs. So their goaltender's doing a really good job. We're going to have to try to make things difficult on him. And we'll see if we can do a couple things to maybe generate some more offense.
I know coaches don't generally like to talk about this, but were you a bit frustrated with the penalty situation that your club's faced the last couple of games? You've been penalized 10 times, Oshawa only 4. Do you think the refereeing has been fair to go through?
I certainly have my thoughts, and you're not going to get me into that. I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself, but those stats that you just shared would be stats that I would share. And just, yeah, I'd love to know what they're doing. I'd love to be on the power play a little bit more, right? It's I think they've been on the power play 50-plus times in 11 games in the playoffs. That's a talent to do that. So we're going to have to find a way to do it. Does that answer your question?
Quick there. Liam Armstead, first game back since the beginning of April. What do you make of his first game in quite some time?
I think just the instant, insertion of him there, I think that was a big deal of our first period and the success that we had. It's his first game in a long time. I think he was kind of running on adrenaline and energy, and it catches up to you. You got to get the legs underneath you a little bit. So I think he and our team are going to, get a lot better as the series goes on.